This is now the second phase or the medieval history in the middle time. This is 1206 to 1526. What type of the music were grown? During the Sultanate period, same as the language and the literature we discussed about the painting of this period. Now we are coming to discuss about that the music, the taste and the interest of the kings and the rulers in our country. The Turks brought new musical instruments like rawab and sarangi. Just now I have shown you many of the musical instruments, which is this is sarangi. This is sarangi. It has been introduced during the period of Amir Khusro. This is the Turks. They have brought the instrument like rawab and sarangi. These two instruments were brought by Turks in our country. And during this Sultanate period, Amir Khusro was a great musician and poet who combined melodies of India with Persian and produced new ragas. Now, what is his contribution? He was a great musician as well as poet. And he is combining this the melodious Indian music with the Persian. And the new ragas were formed by the mixture of this Indian and Persian. He also introduced a new form of music which was patronized as qawwalis. This is a new thing which was introduced by or popularized by Amir Khusro. He wrote many texts of music and believed that he was the inventor of musical instrument sitar. This is now showing you the picture of this sitar, what is in his hand. This is Amir Khusro along with his sitar, and this is the picture of sitar. And it is said that it has been invented by Amir Khusro. So three new instruments we discussed in this part. One is rawab, sarangi and sitar. Then growth of music under the Mughals. Hindustani style of music became popular at that time. Tansen was a great poet, Hindustani style of music. Then Tansen was a great musician and one of the 9 gems, Navaratan, in the court of Emperor Akbar. Among all those 9 gems, Tansen was one of them. He created several ragas like Rag Deepak, Rag Darbadi. All his ragas were to be sung at different times of the day, and it is believed that with the singing of Raga Deepak by Tansen, the diyas of the palace, the royal palace diyas, this is Ardin lamp. What are the diyas? Ardin lamp. Ardin lamp of the palace were lighted up. Music like Thumri, Khayal and Ghazal developed during the period of Mughals. So this way it was the development of the music during the Mughals. Other than that, this is all about that during the court of Akbar. He was having the concept of 9 gems. Among them, Tansen was one of them. Navratan, 9 very popular persons as a courtier, they were there in Akbar's court. Jahangir and Shah Jahan also adopted the policy of Akbar and employed several musicians in their courts. Aurangzeb banned singing in the court and his surroundings. Aurangzeb was completely different from the Jahangir and Shah Jahan as well as different from Akbar's policy. In fact, he was an accomplished player of sitar. He was playing sitar himself. A large number of texts were written on classical music during his reign, but during the reign of Aurangzeb, a number of musicians migrated to regional kingdoms and continued their tradition of music in the courts of kings. The musicians who they gained the popularity, gained their position and respect during the period of Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan, all they have now started returning back to their kingdoms during the period of Aurangzeb. This is now, however, music reached once again on it during the reign of Muhammad Shah Rangila. The title of Rangila was given to the ruler for his love of music and dance in his court. All this is actually this Rangila, what it is named as the Muhammad Shah Rangila, they were the weak Mughal successors. So this is all about this, the growth of language and literature, growth of painting, growth of music in different periods. Early medieval period 800 to 1200, then Sultanate period which is mentioned 1206 to 1526, and finally the Mughals. And for the Mughals the period is mentioned for the 1526 to 1707. This is the period mentioned for Mughals. And for the Mughals, this Tansen was the very famous one. See this picture about this. This figure is of the Tansen in Akbar's fort as he is just playing and singing song. It is said that this is the king and the emperor Akbar, he is standing in front of him. Then the most important and the last topic of the chapter. This is chapter 7, the flowering of the regional culture. Case study in Bengal. This is in a particular context or in a state. During the medieval periods, Bengal remained independent for a long time. It was not under the control of any of the foreign rulers. The most powerful dynasties were Ilyas Shahi and Hussain Shahi. Rulers of Bengal were great patrons of cultural activities and functions. All cultural pursuits prospered under the rulers of Bengal. So nowadays also this Bengal is very famous for the cultural pursuits and its prosperity in the region of Bengal in the state of West Bengal nowadays. Let us see what happened in this. This is the picture of Jaidev. And what was his creation? Geeta Govinda. He was a poet lyricist. In the previous part, we have already discussed about the contribution of this Jaidev. Again, in the case study of Bengal, we are coming to discuss in the different headings. First of all, language and literature, how it has been flourished and how it has developed. This is about the language and literature. With the Aryanization, when the Aryan entered in our country of Eastern India in about AD 1000, this is 1000 AD, when the Aryanization started in Eastern India, the Bengali dialect created along with Oriya and Assamese. So, what are these? The languages were Bengali, then Oriya and Assamese. These dialects were popularized. According to scholars, the oldest specimen of Bengali were found in the Charya Pada. This is the oldest Bengali language and literature found in this, the Charya Pada. Charya Pada poems. The Charya Pada is a collection of 8th to 12th century, which is Vajrayana Buddhist Carigality. This is Buddhism is actually divided into three parts. Mahayana, then it is followed by Hinayana, and the third one is the Vajrayana. The three different sects were there, groups were there in which the Buddhism was divided. Then according to this, the poems of Old Bengali were written by a classical Mahayana teachers known as Siddhas, one of the famous teacher, and his nicknamed or he has been started calling by Siddhas, and these Charipadas are said to have been written between the AD 950 to, this is about the Charyapadas. What it is said that it is written during the period of 950 to 1200. This is the time period mentioned for this Charyapada. New or modern Indo-Aryan languages along with Bengali were taking shape. Now this is about the development of language and literature. Dialect Bengali, Odia and Assamese. Then the poems started written in this Charyapadas. Buddhist text. Buddhism is divided into three. There Mahayana, Hinayana and Vajrayana. And Vajrayana Buddhist, that is the Karyagati or the mystical poems from the Tantric tradition in Eastern India were developed. So this way the different examples of Bengali writing from the Charyapadas are also found in couple of reference. In the Prakriti Bengala written in about AD 1400 and poets in Bengal before 1300 utilized Bengali as well as the Bengali Apabhramsa. Means that the local language, dialect language without the use of grammar. Then it is known as Apabhramsa. In the beginning of this chapter only it was there. In addition to Sanskrit, which was the dialect of the educated classes. So this is about the importance of the dialects. The rulers of Bengal, they patronized Bangla language and employed scholars to translate the great deeds of Sanskrit like Ramayana, Mahabharata in Bengali. Then Maldhar Basu, the famous poet of Bengal, translated Bhagavad Puran into Bengali, and the Kriti Vasi Ramayana, composed in the 15th century, Bengali poet Kritibas Ojha is rendition of the Ramayana into Bengali. So this way now, when once the language is getting recognition, they have started doing the translation work of Sanskrit in their local language, in their dialect. And now the Bengali became very famous. Then it comes about that a tremendous development of the language under the reign of Alauddin Hussain, and his period was mentioned at 1493 to 1519. And his successor, Nusrat Shah, was great patrons of cultural work. They encouraged Persian and Bengali language literature. During his reign, several Sanskrit literatures were translated into Bengali. So this way in the different phases, in the different time period, the translators, they were working to translate the rich Sanskrit works into the dialects or into their own language, so the many people, more people can read about those texts and they can understand. Then it comes Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishnadasa Kaviraj was another important account, that is Lochan Das is associated with the introduction of a new style of folk song called Dhamali. So this is now about that. The concept of Dhamali was there, and the narrative poems called Mangal Kavya. One is about Dhamali, then Mangal Kavya. These all were the translation work done by the eminent Bengali scholars. They have now his poetry, this kirtans, the vibrant songs, the kirtans in praise of Lord Krishna. His poetry influenced a whole generation of Bengali poets and the other Padakartas, that is the song makers. Padakartas, it's a Sanskrit word, Pad, P-A-D. It's a Sanskrit word, and Kartas. It is in dialect, in Bengali. So Padakartas means that the creator of the songs, the writer of the song. Then Mangal Kavya was derived from the Puranas. Then next topic it is about architecture. What type of the architecture the buildings were constructed during this period? So during this period, most of the architectural monuments were built in two capitals, Gaur and Pandua. This is about the Gaur and Panduas. This is now we are discussing about that the architectural structure. The most famous monument of medieval Bengal were the Adina Masjid at Pandua, and the Dhakil Darwaja at Gaur, Kotwali Darwaja, and 5 masjids at Tantipara. All these are the places in Bengal region. That is Darasbari, then Chamkatti, Chota Sona, and Bara Sona. These are the names in the dialects, are some of the other forms of architecture. Then next it comes about that the paintings. What type of the paintings and who were the painters of this period? The 12 miniature paintings of the palm leaves are the earliest painting of Bengal. This which is created on the palm leaves. These are based on a manuscript of Buddhist text named Astasha Disrika Paranjana Paramita. These all are actually in the Pali language written. So we must have to know the meaning of these. This belonging to the time of Mahipal, a Pala ruler. This is about the Mahipal during the Pala ruler. And his name was Mahipala. So what it says that a miniature style that could have been developed gradually by generations is indicated by these Pala paintings. The Pala rulers were of Mahayana sect. Just now we have discussed about Vajrayana. Here it is Mahayana sect. So these paintings are in a sense of Buddhist cult. So the paintings of this in Bengal, it is basically based on the Buddhist cult. According to Tarantha, during the time of Devpala and the Dharmapala, these were the name of the Pala rulers, the art of painting achieved great heights. These paintings are influenced by the artistic ideals, alike to their contemporary images made in stone and metal. There are numerous illustrated manuscripts of the period of Hussain Shahi. He was the ruler of Bengal, Hussain Shahi. These manuscripts suggest that the development of visual arts during this period, the paintings of Bengal bear an excellent resemblance of the contemporary paintings of the Sultanate period. Mughal emperors, already we have discussed in the earlier part, that were great patrons of paintings. In court of the Akbar, already we have discussed Shah Jahan, Jahangir. They all were having their jewels in their court. In Akbar's court, it was very famous about Navaratnas, 9 jewels. The art of painting received great impetus under the reign of Mughals in Bengal. The same way it has got its that the zenith during the period of Mughals. Then it comes about music. Bengal is rich in folk music. The Bhakti and Sufi influence gave rise to the Baul singing, which was sung by a religious group called Baul. This is a group of religious people. That is Baul. This Sufi influence gave rise to the Baul singing, which was sung by a religious group called the Baul. Jaidev, a great Bengali poet, had modeled his devotional songs in the love of Radha and Krishna. In his immortal deed, Geet Govinda, till date it is very famous. Just now I saw you the picture of Jaidev, which is regarded as the forerunner of the musical form, that is Drupad, forerunner of Drupad. This Jaidev is from the land of Bengal and he was considered as the forerunner of musical form that is Drupad. Chaitanya, who led the Bhakti movement in Bengal through devotional music, made Vaishnavism very popular in Bengal, Assam and Odisha. He composed many songs in praise of Lord Krishna. Those songs were sung in chorus and accompanied by instrumental music, not only by the with the help of the chorus, but that also the musical instruments were also used to compose the songs in praise of Lord Krishna. This Geet Govinda. Govinda is actually the other name, the synonyms of Lord Krishna. And the Geet means that the song which has been written or means that the sung in the praise of Lord Krishna. So its name is given Geeta Govinda, and he composed many songs in praise of Lord Krishna. These songs were sung in chorus and accompanied by instrumental music, and it was called Sri Krishna Kirtan. It is still popular in Bengal today. The popularity of Sri Krishna Kirtan is still there in Bengal region.